last time you were here, we talked about you using the N-word.
Yeah.
And you talked about how as you got older and you had older people speak to you about it, that you saw that it's not something that you want to continue doing.
Yeah.
Well, Ebro had some words about it, and I guess you replied to it.
Yeah.
So, what exactly did Ebro say?
Well, Ebro, I mean, I seen a clip, and basically he was just saying that somebody asked him if Asians had a place in hip hop, and he was like, yes, everybody should. Everybody has a place in hip hop, but we just, Asians saying the N word, they don't have a place in that. They shouldn't say it. And if something like that, something to that point.
Okay. And you responded.
I'm confused, right? Because if the N-word is so culturally sensitive the way that I know it can be, why is it so accepted by mainstream popular culture? You know why? Because of people like you. People that has these platforms, people that are gatekeepers that allow this word to transcend race into culture. And culture has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Culture has everything to do with the environment you were raised up in, the people that you're around, the things that you hear, the things that you see on a daily basis. So if you're so against that word, you should have been on it since day one. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should have been able to use that word on your watch. But because you weren't, it seems like you're singling out an entire minority group. You know what I'm saying? Which makes me think that you're stereotyping. You know what I mean? That the assumption is that all Asians are affluent, that we don't suffer from poverty, that we don't suffer from gang violence, and all the other shit that's rampant in the hoods. I don't know when was the last time you was in the hood.
I feel like, this is how I feel. Like I said, I feel like nobody, I mean, if that word is deep-rooted, so black people want to use that word on their own, whatever. I mean, I don't agree. I don't think that would ever work like that. You know what I'm saying? But fine. You know what I mean? That's a word that I want to use it. All right. So now anybody else, I don't think that word should be used at all. Really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody should use that word. And I feel like and what I felt was like, all right, so many other people use that word. That word is used by everybody. You know what I mean? Anybody that grew up in the hood, and you don't just have black and Spanish people in the hood. You got all types of people in the hood, right? Asians, not every Asian person is rich. Actually, in New York, you see like more affluent Asians. But when you go to Cali and you go to Minnesota and you go to all these other rural places, you know what I'm saying? Not Cali. Cali's not rural. But I mean, like, when you go to all of these other states or whatever like that, you see Asians right in the hood. You got Cambodians, you got Laos, you got Vietnamese, and they come from third world countries, and they're right in the hood too. So they grew up, they go to school with the same Mexicans, blacks, and the same hoods. So people are brought up with that culture all around them, right? You can't expect people to grow up around something and not begin to adapt to it and not begin to take certain things that the same people that's always around them, their neighbors, the people they go next door to, when the kids are going, to their neighbor's house to play video games or watch TV, and they're in a house full of people and everybody's saying that word or doing certain things, you can't expect for these kids not to pick up on that. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, it's not even right. You know what I'm saying? So when you have all of these people around and that word has been popularized, yes, it's a deep-rooted word. Yes, that word should not be said. Yes, that word comes with a lot of anguish, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. But that word was turned into something else. That word, all of that anger, all of that stuff was kind of taken out and used as something else. You know what I mean? So when these kids are coming up, they weren't around in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. They don't know about that. What they do know about is, 21 Savage, 6ix9ine, and Kevin Hart, and all of these people that they're bombarded with on a daily basis on Instagram, on social media, on TV, on movies, on music, on everything. And that's the word that there's no negative connotation to that word. So when they receive that word, it's not with racism. You know what I mean? They receive that word with slang, with culture, right? So once that happens, it's like, you know, so my thing with what Ebro said is don't point. He's the gatekeeper. Like, you know what I mean? He's working in radio. If he really felt that strongly about it, you should have been rallied up about that. You know what I mean? You should have been pushing that as like, yo, listen, we're not gonna condone that word. Like, you know what I'm saying? You should have been doing that. You know what I mean? Don't do it now that you see Asian people or whatever. Yo, the culture's grown, bro. It's grown, and there's people like you that allowed it to grow to this point. You can't be mad. You can't be. How could you be mad?
Well, I interviewed Stupid Young. He uses it. He's Cambodian, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Cambodian. I mean, he uses it in his speech. You've used it before. I mean, Tekashi's what, Mexican and Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
He uses it on a regular basis. Me personally, I never use it. It's not part of my vocabulary, regardless of who I'm around or how acceptable it would be around people I'm cool with. And the way I look at it is, okay, as a kid, being in a certain environment and being around people that you know, I get it. I get how it could become comfortable, how you could say it. No one will ever question you about it and so forth. But at a certain point, you get exposure outside of your particular area, and you understand that that word actually has very serious ramifications. And, although you are a minority, as a Chinese man, you are a minority yourself. You do know that overall, the way that Asians are treated in America versus blacks is really not the same thing.
Wasn't always like that, though.
It wasn't. But because when Asians were brought over and worked on the railroads and stuff like that, they were treated like trash also. But I don't think they were ever actually slaves, though, were they?
I mean, they were one step above it. They were indentured servants, which is basically slavery. It's just a little different.
I see what you're saying.
The Chinese actually built the railroads in America. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese have been here for a long time. The Chinese have contributed to this country a lot. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese have been, there was the Chinese Exclusion Act where we were banned, killed, because the white people were mad that the Chinese people were getting all the jobs for cheap, and they started just running down on all the Chinese people, hanging them, killing them, and doing all that. Like, so people don't really know about that. You know what I mean? The Chinese have been here for a long time, but what I feel like is, the Chinese were just able to build off of that. But that you know what that is though? That's because I have conversations about this all the time. The Chinese were never stripped of their identity. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese we always had our culture. So no matter if we were here in the 30s or whatever, we always had our culture. We came with our culture. We came with our language. We came with our identity. You know what I mean? When the Africans were brought here, they were stripped of everything. They were stripped of their culture, stripped of their language, stripped of everything. And everything they learned after that was, something that was forced on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different. The psychology of it is different. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like, but that doesn't mean that we haven't been in the struggle either. Like, we've been here too. You know what I mean? We've been here too. And yes, the word shouldn't be said, and that's why I don't say the word. But it's not something to be pointing fingers at people. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese never enslaved nobody. You know what I mean? The Chinese, the Asians never enslaved nobody. Like, we didn't have anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But this word, again, was brought up and made into a popular, it became like, like pop culture, right? So when this word does that, then we have to look at why this word did that. Who allowed this word to do that? You know what I'm saying? You can't be mad at the people who take it from, from TV, from all that, right? So like my thing is like that's a deeper issue. You can't just point at people, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's something that we as a people, everybody should be, should understand the meaning of that word. And I think there should be more talk about that, more understanding of that, because right now there isn't. And that's why you have all these people saying it, and you have, but me, I don't say it. I try my best not to use it, period. You know what I'm saying? And when I do use it, when it slips out, because I've been using it for so long, I check myself, I take a mental note. And not because of anything else, but because I want to respect everybody. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, everybody isn't as mature. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while to develop that maturity, to develop that understanding of how hurtful or how disrespectful that word could be for other people. You know what I'm saying? But you can't look at an 18-year-old kid that's been saying it for 16 years, 15 years. You can't look at that kid and expect for that kid to understand that. You know what I mean? Especially when he has nothing, he doesn't even know, or he or she doesn't even know anything about, slavery. It's been so far removed from whatever they know,